I've just been looking at the winners and the honourable mentions for the TED Ads Worth Spreading campaign, and I'll put the link in the information box. Very interesting indeed. This one is particularly interesting. It wasn't one of the winners, but it was an honourable mention, and it's an ad called The Fatted Calf, and it comes out of the Greater Memphis Chamber, something like Economic Development Organisation. Interesting. I'm going to play bits of it and let you have a look at it. The Fatted Calf.
There's 4 living creatures that hold up the throne of God, we're told in Revelations, and one of them has the face of a calf.
Yeah, this is an advert for a meat farm in Tennessee, and I'm not going to rant on about vegetarianism. I don't think I need to do that. But of course I will state that I'm a vegetarian just so it's clearly understood where I'm coming from. But this is an advert for a beef farmer in Tennessee. First off, you probably just caught the beginning bit there about the 4 animals that hold up, I don't know, the throne of God or something like that, and one of them has a face of a cow. This guy, this farmer, I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but he justifies pretty much everything he does by saying it's God's way.
One of the 4. God loves cattle. I've got the highest form of food God created.
Yeah, God loves cattle. It does say in the Bible that cattle and other animals are put there for our purpose and we have dominion over them, which I guess means we can eat them. That's what he's referring to there. There is no such thing as God. Sorry to break this to you, mate, but there really, really ain't.
That fatted calf is the top of the food chain. He's it. That's the best God gave man right there.
Just listen to the soundtrack as well, by the way. Listen to this.
I've always farmed. My daddy farmed. I was working at DuPont farming. I was doing hazmat. I traveled all over the United States for DuPont, teaching hazmat. You see the guys in the spacesuits? That was us.
In the background is this kind of fiddle music playing, this authentic straw in your mouth, homespun soundtrack going on there to match some of the beautiful blue sky imagery. You know, what they're doing there is this, not only is he selling you on God, the whole advert is selling you on the naturalist fallacy. This idea that by eating the beef grown by this guy, this fat guy here, we are somehow not only one with God, but one with the good old days, you know, the good old days. When slavery was around, that kind of good old stuff.
My wife and kids were running this farm while I was out on the road. And then finally I said, DuPont offered me a chance to retire. Yeah, I'm going to go in the food business. And here we are. My granddaughter, that girl, she can run this place. She knows these animals. She knows every detail of everything.
She's run this place. She knows every detail of everything. She knows these animals. Well, yeah, that's very interesting. We do see little bits of footage about how accomplished she is at moving the animals out of their pens towards the trucks that will take them to the slaughterhouse. She knows everything about that. Apparently she doesn't know, at least to the extent that you would think she should, the extent to which animals feel pain and have got as complex a nervous system as she has. Except, of course, they don't kill things, and she does, which is a bit weird, isn't it? She doesn't kill the dog that's running with her there. She likes the dog.
6 years old, going on 16. Little girls grow too fast.
Little girls grow too fast. Little girls got more homespun fucking wisdom from this cracker barrel philosopher twat.
They're all like my puppies, and that's what gets so hard. They come up here to me, they follow me around this feedlot. These boys get tender love and care.
These boys get tender love and care before I send them out to be killed. Jesus.
Clean, fresh water that I drink at the house. All the corn they want grown right here. They live the good life. They stay in the shade, they're comfortable. But then they've got a price to pay.
Yeah, they do. They've got a price to pay. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, if you must eat meat, this is probably a better way of doing it than some of the more appalling factory farming techniques that go on. But this guy is just justifying everything he does by saying it's nature and saying it's God's way.
That's God's plan, not mine.
God's plan, not
That's the only
mine.
way I can do what I do.
It's not my fault, it's God's fault. He made me do it. The devil made me buy these grapes.
They smell it. They know death. They change. They get scared. I see it. When I'm hauling these calves, and I know what they're going through, and they're looking at me, it's hard.
It's so hard. It's not so hard that I have to stop. Yeah. Fucking train drive to Auschwitz, you twat.
It's hard. No animal goes to that plant that I hadn't prayed over that animal, and everybody's going to eat him.
Well, that's fucking great, isn't it? He's praying over these animals. That's fantastic. What a bloody hypocrite. I mean, seriously. And he's framing his hypocrisy by wrapping it up in God talk. There's not an animal that goes to get its throat cut, hung up by its heels, and have a bolt shot through its brain, after being frightened practically 9/10 of the way to death anyway. There's not an animal that goes through that experience without him praying over it, without him whispering to himself for 10 minutes first. And everybody who eats it. Oh, look how natural, look.
They give up their life that we have a better life.
They give up their life. They just queue up at the gate there, do they? Just queue up there. Give up their life. Yeah, they all say, these cows. Yeah, I'll just give up my life in order that you can have a fatter, better one. You fat get.
So, that's it.
And there he goes, out into the sunshine, look. Because don't forget, this is all natural and this is sunshine. And we're coming out of the darkness into the light.
When you do beef right and get it out there in public, people recognize it when they smell it cooking, when they taste it. I don't have to bring them. Just follow the plan.
Just follow the plan. Just follow God's plan. And so it goes on. It's just more platitudinous nonsense wrapped in this combination of God talk and homespun, old-fashioned, good old boy nonsense, basically. And this is an ad worth spreading, called The Fatted Calf. Biblical references all over the fucking place. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, I know a lot of people who watch this video are not vegetarian and get really irritated when people like myself, who are vegetarians, make a deal out of it. You know what I mean? But it is fucking irritating. It really is. I mean, you look at the history of development in the... it's particularly irritating, I have to say, when members of the atheist community get on my arse about this. You know what I mean? Because these are people who are supposed to be rational. These are people who are supposed to look at the tide of history and see what mistakes have been made and what the direction of enlightenment and what the direction of progress and what the direction of reason and rationality takes us. These are people who are supposed to be on that train. And quite often, you can kind of understand this guy, he's looking at a 2,000-year-old book and justifying himself like that. But what justification do us atheists have? You know what I mean? There's this, and of course he's also doing the naturalistic fallacy nonsense, but it's just written all over the damn advert. But what justification do we as atheists have? You look at the tide of history. You look at the last 400 years particularly, and what that's all about is increasing franchise, a franchise of rights and dignity and right to life of other humans. Don't forget, only a couple of hundred years ago, other humans were considered not human, and we could exploit them. And then more and more dignity extended to other animals. It's only 100 years ago that cat burning was a popular sport. You put your cat in a bag and hold it over a fire. That was a spectator sport. And bear baiting, and setting dogs against bulls, and dog fights. I mean, I used to live in Glasgow 20 years ago, and there were still dog fights then. They were illegal, but they had been stamped out. That was popular. And cockfighting and fox hunting, which is still popular in some places. But these things, the tide of history is all about an increasing recognition that these things are just not acceptable. Just not acceptable. I mean, if we use our brains, we must be able to see that where history is taking us is towards a recognition that, wow, these things have got central nervous systems and they feel pain. And just because we've got language and they haven't, that's not really a useful criteria. And the only separation is this artificial separations that God taught provides, and the artificial separations that nature taught provides, you know. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And anybody who's got reason and rationality who can't recognise that tide of history is going to be left behind by that tide, and our grandchildren will not forgive us. I don't know. I mean, he's got a 6-year-old kid there. I mean, I'd love to see what his great-great-granddaughter says about that. You know what I mean? Just like, because like, you know, most of us have got aged relatives who are a little bit racist, or maybe not just a little bit racist, and all of us have got relatives going back a few more generations who are really racist. Really, really, really racist. I mean, do we not think that in a few generations' time that will be extended to animals? Of course it will. I mean, it's almost there now, and that's the direction in which it's going. If you don't recognise that's the direction in which it's going, then fine, you'll be left behind, you know, and your great-grandchildren will think you're a get. And they'll be right. Just like this guy's great-grandchildren will think he's a get. A fat get who wraps himself up in the Bible. Thanks, Ted. That's really a useful ad to spread.
They'll find me. And it just keeps growing and growing. And every week when I go to Memphis, we'll pick up 2 to 3 new chefs every week at that farmer's market.
Because that's important, you know what I mean?
We have foreign countries that are calling us here, wanting our beef out of Tennessee. We've actually FedExed around the world now. People want good food.
People want good food.
We're going to grow it. We have every intention of feeding folks. Good to see y'all again.
Yeah, we'll feed more folk by growing grain, you twat. That's hell.
No, I'm doing it just like the old folks did.
Yeah, I'm wearing some shoes made out of a cow. Her name was Betsy.
They figured this out, and I'm not changing it.
I'm not changing it.
And now we got us a niche because we're doing it the old-fashioned way.
We're doing it the old-fashioned way, like slavery.
We should, the way agriculture's meant to be.
The way it's meant to be. No cognitive dissonance there, look.
It comes back around, doesn't it?
Comes back around, sure it does. Anyway, that's an ad worth spreading. I think my Mountain Dew is fucking shit. I was better, but now I'm beginning to wish I'd made a cows and farmers. They're fucking shit.